and talk to State Police Trooper, Public Information Officer Clifford Greenfield this morning. Our conversation brought to you by Marcus and Mack, a law firm representing injured people. Cliff, good morning.
Good morning, Todd. Thanks for having me on again.
I'm glad you were here for us today because, State Police have a number of different hats to wear, and in this case last night it was motorist assistant. You guys were busy, weren't you?
Right, we were. Thanks, and that's accurate. We wear a lot of different hats on this job, that's for sure. So I ran some numbers this morning across Troop A, which is the 4 counties, Cambria, Indiana, Westmoreland, and Somerset counties. Since 12 p.m. yesterday, we handled 43 crashes, and we assisted at least 97 motorists who were disabled on the roadway.
Amazing. And here in Indiana County, just as active as everywhere else.
Yeah, here in Indiana, since 12 p.m. yesterday, our patrol unit members assisted at least 49 motorists who were disabled, and we have investigated at least 10 crashes. Fortunately, only one of those crashes involved injuries.
Yeah.
So
wow.
That's a good thing. That's our primary concern is people being injured and stranded out on the highways.
Yeah. Well, there are some things that we can take from this, and you guys all know it since you're out on the roads in this really bad weather. And one of those things is it can happen in just a flash. It just takes a second before you're in a really bad situation. And so motorists, obviously, you got to slow down, but there's a way, and since you guys are professional drivers along with everything else, there's a way to drive on these roads in the wintertime, isn't there?
Right. Take it slow, especially that's number one. Number two would be allow yourself extra stopping distance when you're coming to a stop sign or to an intersection, to a traffic signal. And when you're following another vehicle, allow additional room there to react to whatever may happen. Snow tires are essential in a snowstorm like this. They make all the difference as well.
Yeah, and there's a way to get around a curve, too. It's not so simple as just turning that steering wheel. You have to be able to take that curve in the correct way to prevent sliding off of that. Now, I would guess that that's where the majority of crashes occur, people that hit a curve.
I think that would be accurate, Todd. Most of the crashes I investigated over my career probably, if it was a snow-covered road, it probably happened on a curve or at an intersection. And people just, this time of the year when we're not used to seeing snowfall, we have to remember to adjust our driving behavior accordingly, and that can just take a few times of driving in snow again until that comes back to you.
Well, we ended up with 14 inches as measured at Tulick Filter Plant of Pennsylvania American Water Company here in Indiana. So 14 inches, and that was pretty much the case all across the county. There was an interesting situation happened about 6:30. So we're talking it's after dark, and it's in the northern portion of Indiana County. I'm assuming that state troopers from the Punxsutawney Barracks handled it since it began in North Mahoning Township, but you can address it as well. When it is dark like that and you're not sure what you're approaching, the lights on vehicles, they might fool you. There could be some optical illusions going on there, especially when you got big, long tractor trailers. And if one of those things jackknives, you really have to be cautious when you're driving after dark in a snowstorm.
Yeah, that's really important, Todd. I'm glad you brought that up. It can be even disorienting if you're driving in a snowstorm and you're trying to make out what you're seeing. So when you encounter those situations, slow down, put your four-way flashers on, and just be very, very cautious of all that's going on around you. So you need to be aware of what's going on in front of your vehicle as well as what's going on behind your vehicle, watching for any other motorists who may not be slowing down in time.
Yeah. One of the other things that I note, and this directly relates to state troopers and all of that extra duty that you're pulling when you have something like this, you can find people who are not wearing reflective clothing as a state trooper would be after dark, but there will be people outside of a disabled vehicle walking around, maybe trying to shovel it out. You have to be really cautious around those areas where you might encounter a person walking that you normally wouldn't see.
Right. If you're driving and you happen upon disabled vehicles, without a doubt, you should be looking for people outside of those vehicles standing on the roadway or on the side of the roadway. And if the snow's falling and it's nighttime, it's going to be hard to see someone unless they're wearing reflective clothing or they have a headlamp or a flashlight, and even then it may still be hard to make out that what you're seeing is actually a person there. And those tragic incidents do happen where someone is disabled and they're struck by a passing vehicle, or I'm thinking of a particular incident. I don't remember where this happened, but a good Samaritan stopped to help someone, and they were working outside their vehicles and were struck and killed.
Yeah.
So even if you're in that scenario and you want to render aid to someone, that's fantastic, but you need to be aware of your surroundings and always have your head on a swivel. Something we say in the first responder community, you got to keep your head on a swivel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to be aware of everything that is around you. So if you could, from all of your experience and from a release that you put out just a short while ago about being safe in winter driving, give us some ideas of things that we should have in the car with us in order to get through a winter season, and what we should do if we slide off the road, we're in a ditch somewhere, and we need some assistance.
Sure, good points. So regarding an emergency kit, you certainly want to have water, small amount of food, a hat, gloves, flashlight, reflective vest, or some reflective material, clothing-wise, maybe even a spare pair of boots. Also a shovel is something that would be handy in a snowstorm like what we saw over the past few hours. And just check over your emergency kit at the start of every winter season. Make sure you have what you need. One other item that's essential, if you're in a rural area especially, would be an extra cell phone charger or an extra cell phone battery to keep in that kit. If you would become stranded and you have cell phone service, certainly call 911. Put your four-way flashers on. Do your best to maneuver your vehicle so it's as far off the roadway as possible, if you can do that. If you have emergency flares or some portable flashlight that you could set out on the road behind your vehicle to warn approaching drivers, anything to slow people down is a good thing. And stay in your vehicle or off of the roadway, clear of any potential hazards. That's my best advice.
Yeah, absolutely. All of those are good points for us to understand. And cell phones are, as much as we talk about them and make light of the fact that everybody's always has their noses stuck in their cell phones, they're real lifesavers in this case.
Right, certainly can be. And we will respond to assist as quickly as we can, but keep in mind, in a situation like what we saw last night and yesterday evening, there may be an extended delay before we can get to you. And we may even have to wait for a snowplow to come through before we can get to you quickly. So just keep that in mind. A cell phone is a great thing, but we have a lot of areas throughout Indiana County that do not have cell phone service. Mm-hmm. And in a situation like that, stay safe, try and stay warm. If you're comfortable approaching a nearby home, knock on the front door, ask for assistance. Just have that plan in your mind ahead of time, an if-then scenario. If this happens, what would I do?
Yeah. It's interesting. As you were talking there, I was thinking, I wonder how many people actually know where their four-way flasher switch is on their car, because
right.
And until you need it, you might not even have noticed that you have it.
Right.
Yeah.
The red triangle. Got to know where that is. Yep.
Got to look for that thing. All right. Well, State Police Trooper Clifford Greenfield, we heard about everything that was happening along the roadways yesterday. We follow those things as much as we can, but that's good advice. I appreciate you taking some time to visit with us this morning, and hope you folks with the State Police are all remaining safe as well.
Thank you, Todd. Same to you. Safe travels to you today.
All right. Have a great day.
You too, sir.
There's State Police Trooper, Public Information Officer Clifford Greenfield. Our conversation brought to you by Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people.